welcome back. My name is Matthew Diabate. This is Kill the Cat Radio Sharp Teeth, episode 8. Can you believe that? Episode 8? How far we've come. Happy Monday, y'all. I'm very excited to be here. We've got a great show this week. A lot of new members. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to this channel. I mean, how many members do we have here? We've done a lot. We've got a lot of new people that are joining up. Some people I don't know. Some people I do know. We're going to be sending out an email to a lot of people, just trying to get as many people to subscribe as possible so they too can enjoy our little weekly fun. So welcome to the program. Happy Monday to everybody. I know Mondays are a terrible day for most people. I don't work normal hours at all, obviously. I work from home. I'm a writer. I'm a journalist. I write articles, columns. I ghostwrite. I do a lot. Some people have written in and asked me. We'll address that later in the talkback section about exactly what I do for a living. Primarily nowadays, it's writing. It was bartending and trucking for a while. I was a big trucker. Beep, beep. You know, I was like, get out of the way. You know, it was pretty scary stuff. But you get pretty tough when you become a trucker. Not a lot bothers you. I did 19-hour shifts. I've slept in the back of trucks. But yeah, we're here. Kill the Cat Radio. Look, we got our clipboard here. We got Kill the Cat Radio. And our intro this week is really fun because I know that we all love the Creep of the Week segments that we do here. Just something or someone or an idea or something like that. That just is terrible. You know, it doesn't have to be specific people. It could just be something that's really, really terrible of the week. Well, this Monday, I got to say, each of the 3 topics we're going to do is some form of creeper. Some of this kind of happened recently. Some of this happened in the last year or whatever, but I really want to address certain creepers, specific people in the media and news that sort of deserve the attention. So without further ado, let's get started. All right. We've got my Cronenberg book over here. This is David Cronenberg. He's a real weirdo director. He directed movies like The Fly and his most new one, Crimes of the Future. He did A History of Violence, Eastern Promises, A Dangerous Method. He's just incredibly talented Canadian sort of horror, body horror, intellectual, philosophical kind of odd man. If you want to check out his whole filmography, you absolutely should. You and your girl could cuddle up together and watch these absolutely deranged movies of his. Anyway, that's our little book here. We got the guitar on the other side. We got our little statue friend here. So without further ado, let's get into it. So who are the people we're talking about this week? Wow. All right, I'm going to go through them slowly. You probably know most of these people, and I really want to address it. So there'll be 3 topics as usual, plus the creep of the week, the real creep of the week. That's going to be a fun one. And then we have the talkback section, which I'm going to address some of the comments. There's been a couple different comments made over the weekend that I find to be very fascinating and interesting. So I can't wait to address that with you guys. And we're going to go into a little bit of different projects that Kill the Cat Radio is associated with. Let's get this party started. Okay, so first things first. I saw an article in the newspaper that just cracked me up. The King of England is officially kicked out. His son and his lovely wife, Meghan Markle. Harry and Meghan. Oh, wow. What an interesting couple these two are. Got kicked out of their own cottage in England. It's like, hey, what are you going to do? You know, it's like you don't want to be part of this royal family anymore. You don't want to be part of the monarchy. You don't want to like live up to what you need to do. You want to write books about how your family operates behind the scenes. I mean, I don't know what family or what parent or what anybody would dig anybody writing a book about the intimate secrets of a family, especially that family. That's like kind of one of the most popular and famous families in all of the world, the monarchy. I can't even imagine how I would feel if I was a part of their family. I just find it funny. And then if you watch these shows on Netflix, it is so embarrassing. How can these people take themselves seriously? They demand privacy on one side, and then they say, you know, we're really trying to just live our truths, you know? And it's like, how do you feel bad for, first of all, Harry's completely rich, right? You know, they got all that colonization money from the old days and the slave money. You got Meghan Markle, right? Who was on Suits, and I think she was a game show hoster. What did she do on the game show? I don't know, opening suitcases or something? I can't remember. Well, she looked out, didn't she, ladies? So you remember we were talking about that, about getting that guy who's making six figures. Well, Harry's got a lot more money than that. Maybe not anymore, but yeah, it just seems like everything is absolutely backfiring on these people. I didn't read the book. I read some of Harry's book a little bit. I've watched a little bit of the Netflix show, but I have to ask you guys out there, what is this interest in these people? I mean, who gives a shit? I mean, first of all, I thought we were past this monarchy thing. Like, didn't the United States separate from these Brits? Didn't we tell them to go fuck themselves like years back, about some tea, taxes? Their King George tried to mess with our George Washington, and then George Washington had to give him a what have you. Anyways, I have no idea why American people are even caring about this couple. So they're so tragically clueless. It's really kind of sad, actually. I mean, do something. I mean, go out there, do, charity work, use your money and your power and your fame and your name to go out there and do something big in the world, give the charity, do whatever you got to do. To become these sort of mock Hollywood liberal, media personalities is just embarrassing. I don't know who these people think they are, but the ego on both of them is ridiculous. It's really his face, though. He doesn't seem like he's got a lot of balls, and he's going bald too, by the way, just like his brother. So I'm sure he gave his brother a lot of shit. So he's like, no, I'm the cool one. I got a beard. I'm partying with, models and actresses and doing blow or whatever. And, I got this hot young wife, Kate Middleton. Oh, God. Like, the other brother seems like he's doing just fine. His wife seems very put together and very cool. And, he'll be king eventually. So that's cool. But, God, Harry just seems like he's a lost soul. When you see pictures of I think of like a lost old cat with like a furry beard, but it's kind of demented, they fall off tables or something like that. It's like a cat who used to have maybe kind of some kind of dexterity, but then now when they try to like jump off things, they just fall on their ass. Meghan Markle, let's not even get started with her. One look at her and I knew exactly what kind of woman this is. I mean, this is terrible. She is such an insufferable complainer. Going back to the complaining stuff we talked about before. This lady, that bitch. I mean, she went off and got a prince. What is this, a Disney movie? Like, this is true. This is unbelievable. She got a prince. She's like, yeah, well, I don't know. And I just come from like the streets of Canada. And then I just had to somehow just marry a prince of like, the oldest monarchy in the world. And all she does is bitch about everything. She's like, I just really want to express my truth. And that's the whole thing. What is this? My truth, my feelings. Oh, I have so many feelings. I don't know where to put them. What am I going to do? Lady, it's called a psychoanalyst. All right. Just hire somebody. You got enough money. Talk out your shit. Write a cool book. Do something original. Don't just sit around I don't know, just in your fancy houses and bitch about the royal family and claim racism when there's no racism going on and all this other garbage. It's absolutely just embarrassing to me. I don't know. Harry just looks like he's like the cucked prince, like he's just sitting there like, yep, well, Meghan Markle better give the best blowjobs in the world, because I'll tell you one thing, I don't know why the hell of all the women in the world, all the women that Harry could pick, all of them. And he has options. Come on. The guy's a prince of a monarchy. He has options. No sexy girl from Leeds over there you want to hang out with. There's a model from Monaco, or like some Parisian goddess, or fuck, man, I don't know. Someone, Harry, you got plenty of options, man. Why'd you pick that one? So they definitely qualify onto the creep of the week, since this whole program is just like weird creepers. I have no idea why anybody pays attention to them. It is a mystery to me. If you guys liked them, please say something in the comment section below, because I think they're just insufferable fools. So, guys, wake up and stop being such weird creepers, because the two of you look like weird demons walking down the aisle hand in hand. I don't know. I don't trust you. Second part to part one. I love lists. Have you heard of this lady, ELIZA BLEU? She's gone by a lot of different kind of other names. She's very popular now on the Twitter sphere, and she basically has blocked anybody that has actually criticized her. I'll put up a picture of her when she was on Tim Pool's podcast. She couldn't stop doing her goddamn makeup. It's like, lady, you're on a live stream, like, and she breaks out her little makeup thing here. Anyway, before we get into it, let me before I start insulting her, as she deserves to be. So basically, she kind of came out of the woodwork in the last, I don't know, 3-4 years or whatever, basically talking about sex trafficking, which is a very, very, very serious problem in the world today. You know, I took time out of my day the other day to study the history of slavery, not just the history of slavery in America, but just all the history of slavery all over the world. And what's really scary is that sex trafficking is probably like one of the biggest ones that are going on. Now, it's great that she's bringing a lot of attention to this topic. I think that's really cool of her, of bringing, you know, attention to this horrible, horrible business transaction of human flesh. I mean, it's disgusting. But anyway, she said that she was trafficked. Now, a couple people, because you remember, the internet does not lie. A lot of my YouTube friends went off and started doing some investigations on who she is and her background and all this stuff. And she did say she was trafficked during a certain time, but couldn't talk about it. And I think a lot of people started getting like kind of a weird vibe, like something doesn't really add up. It's not like she is some ugly woman or anything like that. I mean, she's kind of like pornographically attractive. You know what I mean? If you're like into that sort of thing, she's like hip hop video attractive. You know, she's like one of these ones. You don't take her home to mom, is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, your mom's going to look at her and go, I'm afraid of this woman. This woman's going to eat my son's soul. Anyway, ELIZA BLEU is going around. She was really hitting up all the different channels. I think Tim Pool and a couple other people, I think like even Elon Musk tried to like help her out or whatever. She keeps saying that she was sex trafficked in a certain time period in her life. And, you know, turns out though, I mean, she was of age. Like, we're talking like 1920. She was dating rock stars in Hollywood. She comes from some small farm in Indiana. Her dad's some Republican congressman or whatever. It's not like she, you know, came from the mean streets of the Indiana farmlands, you know, whatever. You know, she probably just came from some weed fields and she just wanted to have like, you know, the American dream, and God bless her for that. I mean, anybody who wants to be famous, that's cool, I guess. But at that time, she wasn't talking anything about sex trafficking. She was talking about drugs, and she was on some MTV programs and some dating things and whatever. She just comes off, I don't know, something. I remember seeing her. I never heard of her before. She was on Tim Pool's podcast. And the way she was so odd. I just didn't trust her at all. Like, I'm a really good judge of character just from bartending and doing whatever I do and all this stuff and meeting a lot of people. But something about her was really off. There was like a really serious demonic energy kind of coming from this lady. Anyway, so some of the YouTube people started doing some research, and when they started looking into her life, even asking her questions, boom, blocked, just demonetizing everybody, like having her own friends demonetize other YouTube channels, which is a total dick move. And it's just absolutely atrocious, her behavior, the way she's acted. Now, of course, like she's totally disappeared. She's like, you're not respecting my truth. This is what I'm saying. This is like a product of the internet now with these kind of channels here. Like if I was to tell you guys, oh, you want to hear my truth? I've been through this and that and what have you. And, you know, you're clutching your pearls and you're just like, oh, God, I've been through so much pain. Please subscribe to my channel. Come on, man. Life sucks for everybody. Get used to it. This is the way it is. So ELIZA BLEU kind of fits into this category. And yeah, totally banned everybody who was trying to criticize her. Just Google her. You'll see that she's been in all these like kind of salacious videos as well, showing off her ass and doing all this crap. And, you know, she does like the whole black scent thing. Like for a little while, she doesn't have any accent. And then when she's in the hip hop video, she's like, yeah, I'm saying, like she does that mealy mouth bullshit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to do my thing. Yeah, just what I was doing on. You know, it's really accentuated and it's totally obvious that she's full of shite. Anyway, that's part one of the creeps of the week, since we're going to go through the whole thing. All right, this one's a lot of fun. Oh, I've been wanting to talk about this guy for a long time. I cannot believe this guy's even a blink in the eye of any kind of media or have any kind of future in any shape, way, or form other than serving Subway sandwiches in Chicago. I think you guys know who I'm talking about with that reference. It's, what is it? Jussie Smollett. Juicy. What did Dave Chappelle say? Jussie Smollett? I don't know. Anyways, it all came to fruition. If you guys don't know the story, you guys can Google it. But basically the long and the short of it is, under the Trump era, people were losing their minds. Trump derangement syndrome is real. People just lost it. They couldn't believe, because, I think Hillary was so much in the bag. Everybody's like, all right, we got this. You had Obama, then we're going to get Hillary, and it's going to be awesome. And then suddenly this orange man flies out of space and appears somehow and it totally takes over an entire country and just starts doing crazy things. And people just lost their fucking minds. And so what ended up happening, this JUSSIE SMOLLETT, who was a star on a show called Empire, he faked a hate crime, which is crazy. So he basically said, this was his theory. It was like 2 a.m. in Chicago or something like this, that he was going out for a Subway sandwich, and a couple guys came out of nowhere, 2:00, cold night, Windy City, Chicago, and attacked him and said, this is MAGA country here. Now we're talking like Chicago, the city of Chicago. That's not MAGA country. All right. What a douchebag. Total douchebag, this guy. Faked a hate crime. Basically poured bleach on him, I think he said. Put a noose around his neck and, said all these horrible racial epithets about, we don't want your kind around here. Now, immediately, the left liberal media just went right after this and said, you see, this is what Trump's doing in this country. Everybody from the president, current president, Mr. Biden, the guy who's, unconscious and walking around, the pretend living person, anybody from him to Kamala Harris, the greatest cackler in the world. Ooh, yeah, I thought Hillary's cackle was bad. Like every time Kamala's like on TV, I'm like, why are you smiling? So somebody will ask her like a normal question and be like, hey, Kamala, like what's going down with this? And she's like, yeah, and then and you're going, there's nothing funny about what that reporter has asked you. You're the vice president of the United States, and why are you like, it's crazy, and you're just like, what the F is going on here? She was calling to find and arrest this person and make sure they get taken down, and we got to destroy, this whole scourge of this country of Trump supporters who are just attacking black gay men and putting nooses around their neck and pouring bleach on them and all this other crazy shit. Well, the truth came out. I mean, even a lot of the local police officers were like, wait, what? Like, you were going to get a Subway sandwich at like 2:00? I mean, are there Subways open? Subway sandwiches open? Was it Subway? I don't know. Anyway, what sandwich shop are you going to at 2 a.m. in Chicago in cold weather? This just makes no sense at all. So a lot of the cops and a lot of like local officials were skeptical. I immediately was very skeptical about all of this. I thought it just doesn't sound right. I mean, I'm not saying there's not racism in the world. You go to any country, there's always going to be real jerks and assholes and things like this. But this was so elaborate and the detail was so crazy. And I know Empire was like a big show and it was doing pretty well, but maybe he was worried about not having a career or something, or maybe his career was on the skids. Who knows what these crazy people think, these creeps. So finally it came out. Oh, well, look what happened. He paid these 2 African brothers, I think they were brothers, to fake attack him and do all this stuff to him. They confessed to the Chicago PD, and, and JUSSIE SMOLLETT was there going like, I'm going to go to jail. And he was trying to be like, I still believe my truth. Again, going back to this fucking my truth thing. It's driving me insane. Everybody needs to stop using that word. My truth, my experience. It's like, okay, buddy, sure. Anyways, it came out. He only got, of course, we all knew he wasn't going to get much. But I mean, I think if you lie about a crime like that, that's kind of wasting, public money. It's wasting public time. It's wasting cops' time. You've got so many officers out there working double shifts trying to find who these strange MAGA hat wearing, noose holding, bleach carrying men who were trying to attack gay black men in Chicago looking for Subway sandwiches. Yeah. Anyways, it all came out. And of course, you know, he did his like whole trial thing. Like, you know, if I am murdered inside, or like, I am not a suicide case, I am not going to. And I'm like, oh my God. Talk about a Pollyanna. Like, this guy is like, he should have gotten an Academy Award for that. But it's so fake. And again, the internet just spawns these people who are absolute liars. What it does, like ELIZA BLEU, like Meghan and Harry, like Jussie Smollett, you know, what it does, it takes away from actual victims, the people who really are in trouble. You know, there's real trouble out there. I mean, people are being sex trafficked. Maybe not in Hollywood. I mean, maybe they're doing it on their own. Everybody needs a job, right? But when people take advantage of these things, like Jussie Smollett with his you know, fake race baiting, bullshit, Trump hating garbage, that's not doing well for us as a nation. America's got enough problems going on. We don't need to have these other people making us look worse than what we already are. The last thing we need is more bad press. All right. America gets a lot of shit, even though, funny enough, we're the one country everybody is trying to immigrate to. There's a reason for that. It's not just because, you know, everybody's like, I really want to try a Wendy's hamburger. No, it's because we're awesome and people want to come here. But the problem is, with our lack of education and the internet run wild, these digital liars out there that are just ruining the reputation of the United States by using things like racism, sexism, sex trafficking, the color of your skin as victimhood, even after you marry one of the most richest guys in the planet. It's just absolutely creepy. And that's why we move over to the third creep. Number 3, you, the internet. I'm talking to you. You have failed us. I knew back in the 90s something was sinister about you. We used to actually joke around in our little conspiratorial circles talking about the World Wide Web, right? We just saw like a spider kind of crawling all over, just putting webs all over the world and connecting everyone. We didn't see it as something that was going to be really revolutionary or good. We kind of knew. We were smart in the 90s. Us Gen Xers, we were pretty hip to this. We knew something was going wrong. So the internet comes into our lives, and yes, can I put out this video and have someone in South America watch me? Yes. Can I get fans in Japan? Can I be big in Japan? What about Amsterdam? Amsterdam, you guys out there? I'd love to get some fans in Amsterdam. Sure, we can do that. We can hit any button we want and learn everything from Wikipedia or whatever other search engine we're looking for. We can figure out everything. I can't remember who said this, but it was really cool. It's like, yes, we have access to all this information. So we have knowledge at our disposal. We could just go into the computer and get whatever we want out of it. But do we have the wisdom attached to that knowledge? That's the key. Do we have the wisdom? What is wisdom? I mean, wisdom is something you can't learn on the computer. You have to have life experience. You can't sit around and play Halo all day long and Grand Theft Auto and whatever, you know, the Hogwarts game or whatever it's called, you know, and that's your life. You know, you can't just sit here staring at the computer watching YouTube all day. I mean, I do it just because it's like for research for my job. You know, we've created this entire simulation of a life. So yeah, I blame you. Yeah, I blame you, the internet. That's right. You know, I love you. It's really great to have you here. I can, you know, communicate with people all over the world. Thank you very much. You can also buy tickets over to Paris anytime I want. Amazon will send me 15, you know, stacks of socks and underwear. Fantastic. I can check out what movies are playing at the MoMA. Right? Just boom, get my tickets going. I'm not saying that internet is bad, but I am saying that if you lived before the internet and saw how much things have changed and how people don't even communicate in the same way, I don't mind things changing. I mean, be hip to it. Be cool. Like, there are some people I know who are total Luddites. They can't even stand the internet. I've learned to make the internet work for me. You know, like I take the best parts of it and then leave all the rest. I mean, just think about like pornography, right? I mean, that's just crazy enough. I mean, you can like look at any version of anything you possibly could think about, including illegal things. And that's not cool. You know, like that is like really scary. I can't even imagine being a young guy now. You'd go crazy. I think if I was 13, I'd never even leave the seat in front of my computer. I'd just be over there in the dark corner or whatever. With women, most of the women I know, younger women, they're totally attracted to porn and they go that direction and they're doing their thing. But it's completely altered how people treat each other, date each other, look at each other, and I think it's an abundance of opportunity. It's thinking like, well, there's always something better around the way. Dating apps, social medias, all this stuff. I sound like an old crank, but I think it's true. I mean, I think it's okay to use these things. I mean, some people live very, very, very busy lives. They can't go out to the club. Can't just like hang out at cafes or be like me and just be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be a writer and just hang out and just go out and just be a cool guy. It's like, no, you can't. People can't just have the luxury of doing that. So I get that part for you guys. But everything else though, like what are the positives? What really, societally speaking, are the positives? Yes, access to knowledge. Yes, access to tools, resources, information, communication. All right, fine. You know, back when WikiLeaks was really doing their thing, when Julian Assange, one of my heroes, was doing their thing, create revolutions in countries, alter elections, change things, really, really make a difference in the world, you know, use it to political and philosophical advantages. That's great. I can watch any movie in the history of time if I want. I can just stream it. What's the other side to the internet? Pornography, crypto, foul currency, internet scams, the loss of wisdom in culture, the loss of communication in public, having people being so afraid of a phone call because they're so used to just typing everything or like texting or doing whatever. That's a huge loss, sociologically speaking. You know, you don't even need to. You could actually feel like you have a million friends if you just hang out on YouTube all the time and just start liking people, which, by the way, you should subscribe down below. Definitely in this little trilogy of creepiness for this week's for this Monday. It's got to be, yep, you're up there. That's you guys, the internet. Third creep. Okay, now moving into one of my favorites. Oh, yeah, look at that. All right. All about the creep. Oh, where to begin? Creep of the week. Number one creep of the week. We've already been over a lot of the other creeps, but I have a very special creep in mind. But this creep, I can't tell you his name. You know I'm a writer. You know that I've written novels. You know that I've tried to sell novels. You know that I've traveled around the world. This guy's just sort of an idiot, kind of a donkey's phallus, and a liar, by the way, too, which is you always know. That's like the first thing about a creep is that they're liars. Let me paint the picture for you. Young writer working for a large publishing house in Manhattan. I get a cool job working for them. Kind of writing those like stupid little reader response guides that go in the back of bestsellers, biographies, questions, book club ideas. There was a little thing that was happening in like the late aughts where that was really popular. It was sort of the DVD extras of novels that were selling very well. I worked for this one gentleman. Didn't know him from Shinola, but I read a couple of his books and he's a good writer. I mean, even if I consider him my absolute enemy, he can write. I'm never going to badmouth any writers, especially if they worked hard and that's what they devoted their whole life to. How to describe his books? You know, if I was to describe my books, it would be somewhere between ghost stories and crime. So like horror, ghost, crime, human philosophy. That's sort of the pocket I live in. His was romantic novels, not in like a cool romance way. Like there's certain novels that could be considered romantic, you know, like The English Patient, great romantic novel, in my opinion. James Salter, when he talks about his relationships, that's kind of fun. I don't know if Gillian Flynn is really on there. She does write about relationships, but she writes all about the fucked up shit. She's the one who did Gone Girl. Fucking great book. And good movie, too. Thank you, David Fincher. This guy writes these books mainly for aging old middle-aged women, whatever, wine moms. You can read them in one night, which is a total talent to do. I mean, I've learned a lot from that kind of angle about writing and all that stuff, but you know, we couldn't be more different writers style-wise and also artistically sound. You know what I mean? I'm not a creep. I'm not a liar. Long story short, I get a job with him. We get along and he's like, hey, do you want to go out? And we hang out a little bit. I thought maybe he was gay a little bit at first. So I'm like, okay, why is he being so nice to me? But, you know, maybe he just wanted to feel like he was a father figure or something like that. I start working for him. I pitch him. I'm his social media manager. I'm doing my thing and, you know, I'm working for him. And it at first it was going pretty good, you know, like he's like, hey, do you want to go borrow my condo in Paris? Sure. Do you want to borrow my condo in Berlin? I'm living the life over here. Okay. Like I'm traveling around and doing his digital work and all this stuff. It was going well. Then the problems started. I'm not going to go into like the real personal parts, but let's just bring up like the women's situation. This guy was a total horn dog. I mean, God bless him. I mean, I guess if you're like a nerd kid, you really want to like, when you become an older man, you kind of have that thing where you feel like you got to sow your wild oats. I'm lucky I was a bartender, so I sowed way too many oats, if you know what I mean. Some guys aren't like that. Some men aren't like that. So like later in life, if they ever get like famous or whatever, then they use that to their advantage. But the guy just would lie to every woman. So it was sort of distasteful, I guess. I don't like anybody. I don't like liars. I don't like people who hide things. I find them to be just weak. Just sort of like not good people. It's almost like trying to be you think you're too smart or something. You can get away with it. Like everybody kind of knows what's wrong with you. One of the weirder things that I found in our bizarre relationship was that I would always try to bring up writing with him. Like, hey, like, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And that sort of bond I thought would happen that I have with other writers and other artists, which just wasn't there. You could see he was doing it because it just sounded cool. Like that's what he was. Like he would probably be like a glorified accountant in another life or something, or a real estate agent, pencil pusher. One of these types of people. He didn't have like a really artistic vibe. But if you were to read anything he ever, did in interviews, oh my God, of course he was the poor guy from Manhattan and Brooklyn and just pulled himself up by his own bootstraps, which is total shite, by the way, if you want to know. I mean, he came from money. I mean, that's where this guy came from. So I always love it when the rich, like people who, especially in the art world, pretend that they came from like, like they were Antonin Artaud or Henry Miller, grasping all the way up to the literary mountain to get ahead, or Kerouac, any of these people who actually did it. But I do love that little like swan song, they should play a little violin for every rich person who tries to pretend to be poor. It started getting really bad when I would try to give him new material to read of my own. And he said he read it. He's like, oh, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's okay. So let's get back to like me. It was always about him. You want to talk about a one-way friendship? This is what it was. But think about this. I mean, again, small Rhode Island boy, like, oh my God, I'm hanging out with somebody who's like way part of the artistic scene, the literary scene. I'm in Paris. I'm in Berlin. I'm in Amsterdam. I'm in Maine. I'm in New York City. I'm doing all this different stuff. So who wouldn't like that kind of thing? Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When you work for millionaires, they're not your friends. They end up becoming like slave masters. So yeah, your opinion kind of matters, but if you disagree with them once, you're out of a job real quick. I had gone through some personal matters, a divorce here, some health problems over here. There was a lot of different things that were going south in my life at that time. So when I was staying at his house, or when he would let me borrow like one of his places, every one of his places always had in the medicine cabinet a bunch of Viagra. We all know what that means. It was probably the second to last time that I was over one of his establishments, and we were not getting along by this point. I figured pretty much like getting fired would be imminent. And I actually didn't even care. I had been already through so many ups and downs with this asshole that I was already done with him. Just watching him lie to people and chase after women half his age and think he was so cool. Oh my God. Like okay, I'll give you a couple examples. One time, I said, oh, I'm starting to date this new girl. She's really cool, really smart lawyer lady. And he said, oh, cool. Does she enjoy novelists? Because I should meet her. I just told you, dude, I'm dating her. And you're like, no, I'll meet her. I mean, how far does your own head have to be up your ass to not even read the tea leaves on that one? Another one, I was suffering from cancer and I just got over it. And it was like my sister, my mother, and this fuckface were all at the table. We were waiting the night before to find out if I still had cancer or not. The guy was falling asleep at the table. Think about that. Like, we're at dinner and he wakes up immediately. And he's the kind of guy who snaps at waiters. Who does that? Like, he should be murdered for that. Anyway, one of the last times I was over his establishment, things weren't going well. And I remember him coming in uninvited. Like, he had told me I could stay at his place. And I had kind of a long evening. I drank a lot of wine. I was feeling very, very sleepy, and I didn't think anybody was coming home. So I just found myself on this hardwood floor in Paris. He walks in, he's like, "Wake up, what's going on over here?" I'm like, "What? Wait, where am I?" I didn't even know someone was coming home. But I figured like everything was fine. The house was fine. Everything was cool. Like nothing was bad. It was just me on the floor. I just decided to take a nap on the, it was a long night. What are you going to do? And he's like, "Look at the bathroom. It's a mess." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" And he brings me into the bathroom. This is the middle of the night. This is really fucked up. And there's a little like piece of detritus in the toilet. You're going to pour a little bit of pepper, like the spice, small little dots. And he's like, "Look at this, clean this up right now." And he made me clean it up while he was watching. Like, who is this person doing this to someone else? I can't even imagine doing that to somebody. That is so fucked up. So anyways, I was over it. I didn't give a fuck what this guy thought about me anymore. I wanted to be fired. I don't even care. I'll wrap up this story real quick. Maybe liars need Viagra or whatever. Maybe just if you're not being honest with yourself, you need it, because you can't get it up because it is some kind of subconscious problem that you have. And that's why you can't get it up. And that's why you need drugs to actually get it up. So my parting move, I knew he was coming back and I was flying back to the States, but he was going to come back and have his chicks there. And I stole his Viagra. So that one moment, that special moment when he's being a total asshole with somebody, lying to them and doing whatever, and he brings her back to the house. He's got her all, I just could have just imagined it. He's got her all like laid out and naked, and he's a millionaire and he's fine and he's doing his thing. And she's probably drunk because he's not a very attractive man at all. So like, she probably drank enough to like be like, well, maybe I can get some money out of this. I can just imagine him like, "I'll be right back, baby." Take his dick pills. And I just wish I could be a fly on the wall for that one moment when he cracks open the bottle of Viagra and it's vitamin C. I replaced it with vitamin C. Yeah, I wonder how his dick felt that night. Was that vindictive on my part? Yes, I suffer from vengeance. It's one of my major sins I suffer from. Yes, it was it. I have that problem. I will admit to you. We can share this with each other. But how funny is that shit? I think him making me clean up his own toilet in front of him kind of broke me from any respect for the man I ever was going to have or ever had. So. And the falling asleep at dinner with my mom and my sister while we wait for my cancer diagnosis. Not cool either. That's the real creep of the week. Now we're back over here, the talkback section. Alrighty. Talkback section. Here we go. I was asked actually on a private email exactly what kind of books that I enjoy and what sort of books that I like. And I thought, well, that's a great question. I mean, it's a long question, but it's great. It's hard to pick favorite books, right? It's hard to kind of pick one or like one style or genre. But I do see a repeating theme, mainly sort of high-minded literary styled stuff. We're talking Dostoevsky, Umberto Eco, Flannery O'Connor. One of my favorite, number one, Milan Kundera. He's still alive, by the way. Ernest Hemingway, no surprise there. Anais Nin. Lawrence Durrell. Come on. Great guy. I weave into like the crime things too. Raymond Chandler, of course, Jim Thompson, Hubert Selby Jr., Philip K. Dick. I do go into that world as well. I love that stuff. Sci-fi, horror-ish, but also high-minded literary stuff is my jam. I dig that. Thank you for the question. I appreciate that. It's always nice to be asked questions. Another person said that I'm getting more confidence. Appreciate that. I do feel a little bit more confident. You all know that I run Literate Sunday. You can go ahead. I'll put a link below. It's an anonymous writers group that features a short story each Sunday, and you get a missive from me, and you can join by simply sending an email to literatesunday@gmail.com. I'll put a link below. It's a really great way of keeping in touch with other writers. We're in over 20 different countries. We've got thousands of members. Really cool little organization there. But also it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, what you asked for, that we have kind of this literary organization. Plus now we have the Kill the Cat Radio 2 mics. That's when we sit down with 2 mics. That is unfilmed, unscripted. And we have Sharp Teeth, what you're watching now. So please, again, subscribe below if you have not already. Hit the like button. It's been nice to get a lot of things off my chest, especially about some of these creepers. They're just like ruining our media lifestyle here. Silly, silly gooses. But like I said, it's you and me on this. Thank you very much again for tuning in on this fine Monday. Make sure you subscribe below. Hit that subscribe button. Times are changing. Pandemic is slowly leaving us. We've got a lot to look forward to in the future. And here at KTCR Sharp Teeth, we only wish you the best. So I will see you next Friday. Bye-bye.